going to discuss about the first topic in 6th class, that is nutrition in plants and animals. Nutrition in plants and animals. See, the nutrition in plants and animals means here we are going to discuss about the process of nutrition in plants and animals. How they obtain the nutrients inside the body in plants, how they obtain the nutrients in the animal's body, how we get the energy from the food particles, how plants prepare food materials in the presence of sunlight, how they prepare the seeds, how they will prepare the fruits, they will prepare the flowers. So in this topic we are going to discuss about the nutrition in plants and animals. See, with this nutrition in plants and animals, the main process, the nutrition in plants. In this nutrition in plants means here, first one, plants are capable to prepare their own food particles in the presence of sunlight through the photosynthesis process. Photosynthesis means the photosynthesis is a photochemical reaction where the carbohydrates are formed from the carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight in chlorophyll. In this process, the radiant energy, it is converted into chemical energy. In this process here, the radiant energy, this radiant energy, it is converted into chemical energy by sunlight. So this is the process is known as photosynthesis. This is the process is known as photosynthesis process, right? In this photosynthesis process, now we are going to discuss about the mechanism of the photosynthesis process. Once I repeat it again, photosynthesis, it is a photochemical reaction where the carbohydrates are formed from the carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight in chlorophyll. In this process, oxygen is evolved from the plants. This is the process, is a photosynthesis process. In this photosynthesis process, the equation of the photosynthesis process, 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives rise to C6H12 O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. This is the equation. This is the sunlight. Sunlight and chlorophyll. This is chlorophyll. So the photosynthesis here, the photosynthesis is a photochemical reaction where the carbohydrates are formed from the carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight in chlorophyll. In this process, oxygen is evolved from the plants. This is the process, is a photosynthesis process. Now the mechanism means by the presence of this equation, we will explain about the things. See, in this mechanism process, the raw materials, those are used for the photosynthesis are carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide and water. Now we are going to discuss about the carbon dioxide. Plants gets the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So the plants gets the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And the second one is water. See here, the roots absorb not only the minerals from the soil, it also absorbs the water from the soil and transmits this water into the all parts of the plant body. All parts of the plant body. And coming to the sunlight. In this sunlight, the sunlight is it is the source of energy. With the presence of this energy, they can prepare their own food particles. So energy is energy sources for the plants are the sunlight. In this one, chlorophyll. This chlorophyll actually this at first of this process, plants trap the sunlight. Now this sunlight, the raw materials, the carbon dioxide and water, those are converted into raw materials. This chlorophyll converted these raw materials into, these converted the raw materials into this converts the raw materials into carbohydrates. That is the process. And another process here, oxygen is evolved from this process. All these are the mechanism for the nutrition. Now we are going to discuss about the requirements. Already we have discussed these requirements here. So what are the requirements for the photosynthesis process? First one is carbon dioxide is required for the photosynthesis, and the second one is stomata. Stomata, it is also required for the photosynthesis. Sunlight is also required for the photosynthesis. Minerals, water, these are also required for the photosynthesis process. First one, CO2. Why the CO2 here? The CO2, it is dissociated into carbon and oxygen. And this carbon dioxide, one molecule of the carbon dioxide, it combines with the 5 carbon atom compound 1,5-ribulose biphosphate or the bisphosphate. This carbon binds with the ribulose bisphosphate to form a glucose structure. So, one carbon dioxide capable to produce one glucose molecule. So, there are cyclic processes there, we will discuss it later. See, next one is the stomata. Sorry. CO2, it is present in the atmosphere. Plants absorb this carbon dioxide with the help of the stomata. So, the opening of the stomatal aperture, the opening and closing of the stomatal aperture, which is controlled, regulated by the turgid and flaccid movement. Yes. This is the stomatal opening and the closing of the stomata. It depends on the climatic conditions. And coming to the sunlight, this is the source of the energy for the preparation of the food materials by the plants. So not only plants, every organism depends on the sunlight for the energy. Now, minerals and water. Minerals and water. In this minerals and water, plants, every part of the plants gets the minerals and water from the roots. Roots absorb the materials from the soil and transmits these minerals and water towards every part of the plant. So every part of the plant, the reproductive part, either reproductive part or the vegetative part of the plant gets the water and minerals by the roots. This is the next one. This is about the requirement in the nutrition process. Requirement in the nutrition process. Got it? Now, the importance of the photosynthesis process. The first point regarding to the importance of the photosynthesis process. This photosynthesis, it balances oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere. If the carbon dioxide levels will be more in the atmosphere, only the plants are involved to reduce the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. From the carbon dioxide levels are decreases because of these plants only. And at the same time, oxygen is liberated from the plants. So to maintain the oxygen and carbon dioxide balance, it is maintained by the plants only. So the plants oxygen and carbon dioxide balance. All these plants are actually known as universal food provider. Universal food provider. Universal food provider means it provides the food to all the remaining organisms, either directly or indirectly. All the organisms depends on the plants for the food. So this is about the importance of the photosynthesis. Now we are going to discuss about the nutrition in green plants, non-green plants. What are the non-green plants? For example, this one, the non-green plants like bacteria and fungus. Once observed in these plants. See, actually, the nutrition, it is divided into autotrophic nutrition, and the second one is heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic, auto means self, trophism means preparation. Trophism means preparation. Autotrophism means that is a self-preparation. So the organisms which are capable to prepare their own food particles are autotrophs. Example are plants. And the heterotrophs means the organism which do not prepare their own food particles, that depends on the plants for the food, that is known as heterotrophic animals. Some autotrophs, those are divided into two types. One is photoautotrophs and the second one is chemoautotrophs. Photoautotrophs and chemoautotrophs. In the presence of sunlight, they prepare their own food particles. Those autotrophs are photoautotrophs. And the chemoautotrophs means in the presence of the chemicals, they can prepare their own food particles. Those are chemoautotrophs. Photoautotrophs, they prepare their own food in the presence of the light. In chemoautotrophs, they prepare their own food particles in the presence of some chemicals. Those are chemoautotrophs. What about the nutrition in non-green plants like bacteria and fungi? In these bacteria and fungi, they cannot prepare their own food particles in the presence of sunlight. Here we will observe the heterotrophic nutrition in plants. See the nutrition process in the heterotrophic plants. In these heterotrophic plants, we observe some plants are parasite plants, some are saprophytes, symbiosis, process of nutrition in heterotrophic plants. In heterotrophic plants, we will observe parasitic process and saprophytic nutrition, symbiotic nutrition, and the insectivorous plants also. Parasites plants. Example for the parasitic plants are dodder plant. In the dodder plant, it has no specialized stems due to the absence of the weak stem in the dodder plant. They collect the food particles from the host plant. So they collect the food particles from the other plant and suck the food from that plant only. With the help of a string-like structures, those are called as hastoria. With the help of this one, they collect the food particles from the other plants. This is the dodder plant structure. Example, that is called parasitic plant. A parasitic plant means they cannot prepare their own food particles. They suck the food particle from the other plant's body. That is a parasitic plant. Now coming to the saprophytes. Saprophytes means what are the organisms or the plants? They obtain the food. They obtain the food from dead and decay organism. So saprophytes means they obtain the food particles from the dead and decay organisms are known as saprophytes. And coming to the symbiosis. Examples for the symbiosis are lichens. Those are lichens. So lichens are symbiosis. Symbiosis means an association between two different organisms for food and shelter. If both organisms gets benefited, that is the process is the symbiosis process. In this symbiosis process, an association between two different organisms for food and shelter. In this association, if both organisms gets benefited, that is the process is the symbiosis process. Example like this. An association between the algae and fungi. That is, those are called as lichens. Now, insectivorous plants. Example, pitcher plant. In this pitcher plant, see here the plant is like a pitcher. See, this is. So, this pitcher plant attracts the insects. When the insects are attracted by this plant, these insects enters into this pot. When the insect enters into the plant, the outer portion of this opening becomes closed. Due to the presence of so many enzymes here in this pitcher plant, the insects which is present inside this pitcher plant will die. So this type of plants are known as insectivorous plants. So according to this one, the heterotrophic plants are segregated into parasitic plants, saprophytic plants, saprophytes, symbiosis and insectivorous plants. So in parasitism, the process they observe the food materials from the another plant. Whereas in the saprophytes, they obtain the food from the dead and decayed organisms, symbiosis, lichens, and the insectivorous plants are the pitcher plants.